I'm going to go for a Scottish show. Well, it's got a Scottish actor in it. Anyway, it's written by a Scot. It's pretty niche. You probably haven't heard of it. It is called Baby Reindeer. Of course, you have heard of it. It's big. The Netflix phenomenon that has taken the world by storm. And the main character is from Fife, where I'm from, which I was very happy about. And he is, of course, he's a character who's playing himself. It's a young guy. He offers a woman a free cup of tea at his work because he's working in a pub. He meets this woman. He kind of feels sorry for her. He thinks she's a bit tragic, but whatever. Like, she is very flattering to him, so he enjoys that. And then she becomes a mega total stalker and brings up issues from his past about a sexual abuse thing that happened in the when he was trying to get into the TV and film industry, and at some points it's completely shockingly overblown in a way that is super entertaining, and at other points it's very nuanced, and it really delves in deep to these characters who in some shows would be completely unredeemable, and it really makes you sympathise with them. And that could be the stalker, or it could be the main character, who's certainly no saint himself. And yeah, I thought it was absolutely brilliant, as near a perfect TV show perhaps as I've seen in a good while. And I'm probably preaching to the choir for everyone who's listening to this, but if you haven't watched Baby Reindeer and you're kind of thinking, oh, like, everyone's going on about it so much, like, it kind of makes me not want to see it, just watch it, like, because it is so shocking and brilliant, and it's so different to what you've seen before, like, and the production value is very, very high for such an incidental story, kind of. And I say incidental because, you know, it's not a murder mystery, it's not a detective drama, it's very much a character drama with a very ordinary kind of guy. Yeah, really, really, really brilliant show, I thought. The main leads were epic. You of course think first and foremost about this Martha character, because she's so unusual. She's
Brilliantly
so brilliant,
played by Fiona Harvey. Fiona Harvey?
yes.
No.
Is that right?
Or is that
Oh,
the
no, is
real
Fiona Harvey
person's
the
name?
real? Fiona Harvey is the real lady, I think.
I can't remember who is the actor, the character, and the real lady, but the actor is really good.
Jessica Gunning, maybe. Is
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, yeah.
That sounds right. That's the actor.
I probably should have checked it, but she's so brilliant. And then Richard Gadd, the main character, you kind of forget how good he is, but he has a couple of monologues on stage, and then just like his character moments where he's awkward and he's a show off and he's insecure and he's brilliant, and then he's totally heartbreaking. I mean, at so many different points. There's one point towards the end, which of course won't go into in detail, but where he kind of looks at the stalker from a different perspective, and that had been floods of tears. And then even the slightly incidental characters, like the ones behind the bar or his parents, they have kind of deep, poignant moments, especially one with his dad. And maybe my favourite character is his trans girlfriend. She is so often the voice of reason and so charismatic. And just brilliant. Like playing a character that you don't really see in these shows that much, because she also has her own insecurities about her, the way that she portrays herself in the world, and those insecurities are blown apart by him not acting well with his stalker, and him just trying to just shying away from his responsibilities, even if those responsibilities are to keep people around him safe from this crazy stalker lady, you know. No insecurities in these characters are left untouched. The story pulls you down a rabbit hole, keeps yanking the rope, and leads you through the most extreme scenarios. And
it goes so dark. It goes so dark.
So good. Yeah, Martin, what do you think about it?
I really liked it. I loved it. It was really good. I had when they said Fife, I had a moment of like, you know, the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood meme where Leonardo DiCaprio is pointing at the TV. I was like, that's where Josh is from. That's where Josh is from. The only thing I'd heard was that it's about a man being stalked by a woman, and it has an episode that is almost like turn the TV off. You know, I'm not gonna go into what happens. You were into it a little bit already, but it gets pretty graphic. It should come with a trigger warning. This came out at the same time as everyone started talking about AI and like, is AI gonna, start writing all the shows and stuff like that. And this show is one that I feel like AI couldn't write this.
Yeah.
Like, how
Totally.
like, this is too human. This is too chaotic, and it's a real life experience, or at least interpreted from a real life experience, and it doesn't have a focus that's like, this is about this one thing. It's about a few years in a guy's life and all the stuff that happened to him in that, and it doesn't have like a clear theme or a clear arc. It's like, it's more a perspective on like on being a victim of something, and how you look at that in very interesting ways, and not in ways that are like, oh, it's so hard for you, or like, it's about trauma and how he deals with his trauma in very destructive ways sometimes. And
Totally.
even when he knows and realizes things, he keeps doing that thing, and you get a bit frustrated with him, or at least I did, got a bit frustrated with him at times. Yeah.
Totally.
What are you doing? And then sometimes, or I can't relate to it personally, but I can understand that if you've been a victim of trauma, you aren't always in control of your emotions and your actions in a way that you wish that you could be. Yeah.
Totally. And
Without even writing off any guilt of him, of the bad
that's
things
what I
he
was going to
does.
say.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't let himself off the hook, I feel.
Yeah.
Because he's been destructive to other people around him who don't deserve any of that. And also, especially, there's such a good scene in an underground carriage with him and the trans character that he's dating, and they're just starting to have this beautiful, like, things are just going well for him, and there's a scene where it's just like, the way that they filmed that visually, like, the thing that they do is so cinematic, and it's so good, because it's all, I mean, it's pretty much just he steps out of a carriage at the most inopportune moment, and it's just, it's heartbreaking. Like, and the good thing about the drama is, like, it's pulling drama out of such everyday scenarios. I mean, like, the most embarrassing thing, the most, like, engaging, horrific thing that'll happen in one episode is someone will take someone else's phone and text them with it. So someone takes his phone and texts his stalker saying anal sex right now or something, and you're like, no, like, and that is just gonna, like, it's gonna start such a spiral of, like, damage, that how can he pull this back, and it's, or things like, you'll see that his stalker is commenting on his ex-girlfriend's Facebook posts in a way that, because it feels so real, because you think, imagine what that would be like if someone did that to you.
Yeah.
It's just it's more cringy and more shocking than seeing 20 people die on James Bond. You know what I mean? Like, it's so brilliant, I thought.
Yeah. I fully support that. Recommend.
Yeah,
really good.
Go and see...
You couldn't write that show with an AI prompt.
Totally agree.
Not
Although,
with
I
today's
worry
technology.
I worry that maybe somewhere down the line they would argue that you could do almost anything with that sort of stuff. But who cares? Why would we want to? I mean, we like these dramas because Nick Cave, your boy Nick Cave, does a great speech on AI art, and he talks about how we love the artwork because it's come from human suffering and because it's come from these human places. Like that. To pull it away from that for a lot of artists would then mean it's not art. It's actually just becomes a and we've got to look at things like Baby Reindeer as art, I think, as well as like,
of course,
as well as a show,
Yeah.
Anyway, totally brilliant. Couldn't believe how good it was. Took me a while to start watching it, like, because I just thought, does this subject matter really interest me as much as some of these murdery things that are out right now? And I'm so glad I watched it. Like, excellent. Hey, I'm Josh the Scot.
And I'm Mårten the Swede, and this is an excerpt from our film review podcast called The Scot.
And the Swede, where every episode we review a new film and an old film, somewhat related, and then do another shorter recommend of a Scottish film.
And a Swedish film. So yeah, if you want to listen to the whole episodes, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and any podcasts streamer of your choice.